The War of the Bounty Hunters has begun, and wow, what a first issue that was. We now know who stole Han Solo from Boba Fett, and it was not an answer I was expecting, but it is one that has me insanely excited for the future. So with that, I'm going to get into spoilers. If you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend you stop watching now. Still here? Okay, so Kira is alive. It's the reveal on the final page, but the issue as a whole does such a good job at building up to it. We see Margot, Dryden Voss's concierge from Solo, in possession of the carbonite slab at the start, handing him off to someone else. So right away I'm like, oh man, is that mystery person who I think it is? And then there are just more and more teases throughout the opening pages. Yes, Crimson Dawn is back after lying low for a long, long time. It's gotta be her, right? And yes, we finally see her face and get the name drop to make sure at the end. Charles Soule did a fantastic job at playing coy with that reveal. It's like he knows we know, but he still masterfully builds up that anticipation. Not only is it a fun development for the series, it's such a smart one. I've been excited for this crossover event to kick off, but I was wondering how they were going to get around the fact that we know Boba Fett is ultimately successful and Han Solo isn't rescued. He still winds up with Jabba the Hutt. So what are the stakes? Oh, here they are, a character with emotional connections to Han Solo that we know and like and have been wanting to see more of is here. She's up to something and we don't know what, but she's saying that Han is going to finally get his chance to save her. I don't know what that means exactly, but immediately I'm invested. I want Kira to succeed. The story is no longer about some already answered question. It's all about Kira, a character whose fate we do not know beyond this point. Okay, so I've talked about Kira enough for now, let's get into the other characters. Boba Fett is the main focus of the issue as he discovers Jabba the Hutt has put a bounty on his head for losing Solo to Crimson Dawn. So now he's fighting for his life and his reputation to get Han back. And like I already said, we know he survives and is successful. On one hand, the stakes are lower for him because of that, but on the other, it makes me that much more scared for Kira. And regardless of knowing the outcome, so far Boba's journey is just a lot of fun to watch. The comic is, not surprisingly, giving me some serious Shadows of the Empire vibes. The comic portion of that story was very much about the other major bounty hunters of the galaxy hunting down Fett to snake Solo out from under him. Zuckuss and 4-LOM try and fail in Shadows, and they try and fail here as well. It's just taking me back to those Legends days 25 years ago. There's a little bit of mystery added into whatever Charles Soule has in store for Boba Fett. It's mentioned that Zuckuss can see the future, something true from Legends, and it's been brought up in canon already too. And he tells Fett that in his future, everything is red, a sea of red, and you are drowning in it. I like the possibilities that prophecy has. Could it simply be the Sarlacc? Or could it be metaphorically Crimson Dawn? Could it be something else entirely from this comic? Or could it even be something we see in the book of Boba Fett or beyond? I have no idea, but I like that even if we mostly know how the War of the Bounty Hunters will end for Boba, we still have some intrigue surrounding him. There's also a fun and funny scene with the Hutt Council. We see some familiar faces from the Clone Wars, like Marlowe, who is apparently getting old and a little senile at the age of nearly 1,000. He falls asleep, and when they wake him up, he agrees that they should ally themselves with Chancellor So from the High Republic. It's such a goofy connection to the High Republic comics that are happening right now, where we're actually seeing the Jedi join forces with the Hutts, but I do mean goofy in a good way. The Hutts talk about how Crimson Dawn hasn't been around for years, and they wonder who or what is prompting this return. They also wonder if Maul is still in charge and fear that if he's not, whoever took his place could be worse. I like the idea that nobody knows for sure what happened to Maul. It makes perfect sense. It's just not something I had considered before. Obviously, not everyone in the galaxy knows he got stuck on Malachor for who knows how long and then died on Tatooine. Which brings us back to Kira and Crimson Dawn. What is her plan? I'm sure there is one. It kind of sounds like she's got some scheme to finally get her out of this life she's been stuck in since she was sold to Dryden Voss. But what has she been up to for the past nearly 15 years? If Crimson Dawn has been absent from galactic affairs until now, why does she have to go through all this trouble to escape? Why not just fade away? I don't have any answers at all, which is great. I fully trust that Charles Soule has everything figured out. No matter what story he's telling, he always finds new ways to surprise and shock me, and this was just the first issue. I can't wait to see what else is coming over the next 5 months. 5 months and nearly 30 issues. That is insane. Before wrapping up, I have two more things I want to mention. First, there's a fun little connection between this comic and Star Wars issue 8 by Jason Aaron back in 2016. Fett is in the same bar Luke visited shortly after A New Hope, and the same bartender is still working there. I also have to point out Luke Ross's art. He's been one of my favorite Star Wars comic artists in the past few years, so I'm glad to see him take the reins on this series as well. I especially love what he does with Boba Fett, but that's all I've got to say for now. I don't know if I'll cover every issue or just wrap up the whole story when it's complete, but I had to talk about Kira's return. Let me know what you thought of this issue in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.